I'm Mikey Munn, class of 2024, free safety quarterback out of Windsor High School, committed to the University of South Dakota, and you're listening to Playmakers Corner.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. And today we are interviewing one of our top 5 safeties in the class of 2024, a very special guest from here in northern Colorado. If you could, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mikey Munn. I am a free safety quarterback from Windsor High School.
Very good. And now I know that that a lot of people talk about, or when you're looking at two-way players, a lot of the guys that you see are like safety quarterback combos. But I mean, looking at it, you only really started playing quarterback your senior year. How'd you get into that? Because I know you were only defense your junior year.
Yeah, well, ever since like kindergarten flag football, I played quarterback. I played quarterback from my kindergarten to my summer of my sophomore year is when I switched to DB. But so I took a break from quarterback for a long time, for 2 years, and just kind of had an opportunity to do it my senior year. But definitely it was something I had some experience in. Knew a little bit of the Windsor offense from freshman year, so that helped a little bit.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and I mean, it's I very much did not see that coming. If anything, before the season, I thought Wyatt Gustafson was going to be the quarterback, which I was not right about. But you mentioned you've been playing for a very long time, and obviously seen a lot of people play over that span. And so, what's been your favorite sport viewing experience, like from the beginning of your time watching to right now?
What do you mean by like favorite sport to watch, or I'm confused? Sorry.
Like if you were at the Broncos-Pats game in 2014, or just the favorite game you've ever watched.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I think probably watching that Packers-Cowboys game where Des Bryant had that incomplete catch. I'm a big Packers fan, so that was fun to watch.
Ah, goodness, yeah. Let me tell you, Jordan Love bailed out my fantasy team like 5 times this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't see, like, at one point I just had him on my roster so nobody else could get him.
Yeah, he definitely surprised some people.
Yeah. God, goodness. And I mean, obviously that there are surprises in the league every year. I mean, but nobody could have seen Brock Purdy coming, right? Like,
oh no.
But who are you rooting for this weekend?
Oh, I mean, it hurts for me to root for the Lions. Just NFC North kind of rivalry there, but I would have to say the Lions. I've got too many 49ers friends to cheer for the 49ers, so I have to go for the Lions there. And then I like to see Lamar Jackson, so hopefully looking for a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl.
That is the Super Bowl that the people want.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you buy in at all to the to the claims that the Lions' success is coming with the downfall of the Pistons?
I don't I haven't heard about that actually, but I guess I see that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just something I've been seeing recently, and I don't know. Detroit sports are weird, but
oh yeah.
I mean, we've talked about some really good athletes so far, and I mean, who are some guys that you model your personal game after?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say Troy Polamalu just because I love the way he flies around. He's always everywhere. I didn't spend too much time playing safety. I didn't really start playing safety until the the end of preseason of my junior year, so I didn't really watch too much film with other guys.
Sorry, you just caught me off guard with that. I had no clue about that one.
Yeah, I was playing corner. I played corner my sophomore year on JV, and I was planning on playing another year at JV as a junior, unfortunately, um, and then the kid who was supposed to play safety for us, who I thought I could do better at, but I didn't want to like switch positions and like risk not even being able to play on JV or whatever. And he quit for some reason. I don't really know why he quit, but they were looking for their safety, and so I kind of stepped up and won that starting job, and then kind of took off after that.
Blessing in disguise for you then, really.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Ah, goodness. And I mean, getting that starting spot, like, I mean, he got 80 tackles, kind of came out of nowhere, really. Like, really, yeah, only a couple of years on varsity here. But what's been your favorite experience playing? Like, I know that it's a little bit shorter of a time than some of the guys we've talked to, but yeah, what's been your favorite playing experience?
I think it would be beating Loveland this year. They've always been, I mean, they're like our rival school, I would say. And I think for the time I was in high school, that senior year is the only year we beat them because I don't think we played them my freshman year. I know we lost sophomore and junior year, and I watched one of my really good buddies, Jackson Lewis. He's at School of Mines right now. He blew out his knee against Loveland.
Oh,
And that was really hard to watch. And there's just always I just remember all the older kids from when I was an underclassman and even a junior, the desire they had to beat Loveland and never watching that happen, and then beating them my senior year, that felt really really good. That was a huge accomplishment, and that like wins us the conference every year. So it's kind of like the conference championship.
yeah. And I mean, goodness, I don't remember the last time Windsor won the conference since that championship run. So that must have felt really, really cathartic, I guess, for the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, it was definitely big for Coach Jones. I mean, it was big for all the players. Coach Jones doesn't like to take a lot of credit, but he did a great job of preparing us for that game, and that was my first game playing offense too, so it was really fun to kind of experience some new things against them and put my team in position to win, which was really fantastic.
Very good. And I mean, all throughout the season, you did a really good job putting your team in the best position to win. And so, what? I mean, I don't do the evaluations personally, but Simon and Cody this year, they've been really working to compare guys to national talent as best that they could. And so you were being compared against a national scale. And I guess that brings me to the question of what was your reaction to the evaluation of your game that Simon and Cody had?
I mean, I just felt honored to even be in that top five. That was a really cool thing for me. But there's definitely a lot of things that I know I can work on, and I think you guys did a good job of pointing that out. And I just am appreciative for the I guess the spotlight that you guys put on me, I guess, throughout the whole season. And I mean, putting me in that top five list and evaluating me and letting me know things that I can work on from not just my set of eyes or my parents or my friends' set of eyes, but from like a different perspective, comparing me to national talent.
Heck yeah. And I mean, it's all earned, not given. That was a really, really good season. Is there anything that we said that you disagreed with or that you think we missed?
I'm trying to think back on some of all the stuff you said. I think one of the biggest things for me, which is, I mean, if no fault of you guys, was I think my speed rating. Especially towards the end of the season, I started to do a lot more speed training stuff, and I was kind of bummed out to hear that what you guys thought of my speed. Obviously, you guys thought I had great speed, and I really appreciated that. But especially now, I was just like, I definitely could have. I wish I would have done some of this stuff earlier, worked on myself a little bit more, and I could have been a little faster in the season and made some more plays during the season and stuff. But that was the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was like my speed rating was a little lower than I hoped it would be.
Fair enough. And I will say that it's hard to make more than 12. You already made 12 picks, so I do wonder what would have happened if you made a couple more plays. If you get what I mean. Oh goodness. Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. And I mean, looking at it, your speed was still really, really good. Simon, here he had your top end speed at an 8.7, and Cody had yours at a 9.3, and that's one of the biggest assets that you have. But outside of that, what are some of your abilities that you believe separates you from other safeties across the state and the country?
One of the biggest things I think I noticed was as a junior, I mean, I had 80 something tackles, and I was surprised. I surprised myself with that kind of. Windsor is we love to tackle, love to hit. It's kind of like the culture that Windsor has, and so being in the I guess the culture of Windsor and like the tackling and stuff. Like I thought that I was not a very strong tackler, and I wasn't, especially my junior year, I wasn't the most filled out kid. And so I guess I just am really, yeah, I guess I'll just say tackling.
Very good. And I mean, I remember I was going through the season preview before the season, and I just looked at it and I was like, they're only graduating like 3 of their top like 11 tacklers,
Mhm.
and even like the 20th highest tackler or something had like 50. And I was really taken back by that. So the hard hitting culture really does make sense there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've had a chance to play both ways against, I'm gonna be straight up, some of the best in the state, some of the best in the country, even. Like even looking at Meade, you've got some good offensive linemen there. Longmont, you got to go against Gaddis and Foote and Colby Holmes. Fort Collins, you have to deal with Joe Cottingham and Bandhauer. Fossil Ridge has Pollack. Obviously, Erie has their guys. Even Greeley Central and Greeley West have a couple of guys to look out for.
Yeah.
But what's been your favorite matchup, like individual matchup? Like who was your favorite player that you played against this year?
I think I was definitely most excited to play against Joe from Fort Collins. He was I played some club basketball with him summer going into our junior year, and me and him were really close during that summer and all that stuff, and it was really fun. Like he had been being recruited. I knew Wyoming was going to be at the game to watch him. He'd offered from UNC. I was like, okay, this is a D1 guy. I got to be able to guard D1 guys if I want to go play D1 football. So I was really excited for that matchup, and he was pretty frustrated with me because I would always cheat over to his side because he was their guy. And there's a couple times during the game he's like, dude, you gotta scoot over a little bit, man. I'm never open. Like I can't do anything, man. You guys are like double covering me. I was like, dude, you're the guy, man. And I had a really fun time. My coach got mad at me for being a little too nice to him. So.
Well, I mean, that's your guy. Like, you're going to give him a tough time, but you're not going to lay him out or anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. And I mean, Joe's a really nice guy. I was able to meet him at the Canvas Classic games. Having played against both Fossil and Fort Collins, did the result of that Canvas Community Classic game surprise you at all?
It did, yeah. I think it shocked me not as much as I thought it was going to be when I really look back on those games because, I mean, the Fort Collins game, we knew it was a game we should win. We were really confident in it, but we were, I mean, it's a rivalry game. They're a 5A school and all that. And it got pretty close down at the end of the game. We won because they missed a field goal barely. And then against Fossil Ridge, lost by 5. There were some calls we thought could have gone our way a little bit, but we knew both those games were games we could have won. Unfortunately, we only won one of them. But watching that Canvas game and seeing that final score was definitely surprising. But I don't think I knew Fort Collins could do it. I was surprised Fossil didn't pull it out though because they had some weapons.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that surprised me in that game is how the D line for Fort Collins was able to go against 2 event. I mean, Ginther's SEC and that Cheshin kid is probably going to be Power 5 as well. But, whew, yeah. And I mean, you mentioned 2 really good games there. But what was your favorite matchup as a team this year? So we talked earlier about. Oh, you go.
Oh, okay. I mean, I would probably say Loveland and Fossil Ridge are probably tied. I think the Fossil Ridge game was pretty big for us at the beginning of the year because that was like our one of our first like really challenging games, and that was also one of those teams we haven't beaten in a while, and so it was really fun because we were winning most of the game, and just a couple of things didn't go our way, but that one was maybe more fun before the game, but I think Loveland was definitely more fun after the game after getting that dub.
Heck yeah. And I mean, yeah, I wish I'd been able to make it out to one this year because I was originally planning on going to that game against Erie, but something ended up coming up. So, but yeah, those both sound like they were really, really fun matchups.
Yeah.
And I mean, as I said, you've played against some of the best in the state, but who's someone that you wish that you would have played against? So that you never had the opportunity to.
Ooh, I think this kind of goes back to last year, but the quarterback from Fossil Ridge last year, I think he got injured, and we didn't get a I didn't get a play against him last year, but he was one of the best quarterbacks in the state, and I was really looking forward to that, challenging myself a little bit there, but unfortunately he got injured, and I mean Fossil Ridge still stepped up, put somebody else back there, and he tore us apart. And then another one would have been that was a sophomore, yeah, I would have been a sophomore. We played Vista Ridge with Braden Dorman and BB Hills. And I remember being on the sideline watching those guys, and I was like, dang, I really wish I could have got out there and played against those guys because they were some animals.
Yeah, and I mean, as a corner at that point, you probably would have been a direct matchup to BB.
Yeah.
And oh goodness, that kid was good. That
He was something else for sure.
Yeah, and not anything against your teammates. You've had some pretty good talent around you. You've had well, TNT, Jaden Chase. You've had Gavin Helm, Deacon. A little bit of a quarterback carousel, but all of them have been pretty good.
Yeah.
So, what is the impact that your teammates have had on your play style and on your game?
I mean, I think my teammates have almost everything to do with it. We have Trip Thomas, super fast kid, and we have a lot of guys who can step up and play scout for whoever their key player is for the next week. Or like I mean, Gavin, we didn't throw the ball very much, but Gavin, he's 6'5", 200 pounds, big dude, and he can get up. He's a great receiver. We didn't utilize him much because I mean we're a pretty run heavy team, but he does a really good job of like scouting us for Joe, a big tall guy who can jump and catch high balls and all that kind of stuff, throwing it deep. Then we have Trip, who is just, and another one is Kel Frederick too. I'm not sure if you know who that is. He didn't play very much, but he's just another one of those really small, shifty guys. One of the hardest guys on the team to guard one-on-one, in my opinion. But we just had so many guys who could really, really get us ready for whoever we're playing, and that really makes a big impact on how I'm able to prepare for whoever we're playing against and who I'm going to be matched up against.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's always important to have a good scout team. You said it yourself. They test your mettle and they make sure that you know what's coming up. And are there any guys from other schools who like you played against in the off season, you were able to go against in sevens, or like if you did any clump stuff? Are there any guys from other schools that you would say had an impact on your game?
I think one of the biggest one, I didn't do like 7-on-7 or anything, but one of the biggest things for me was kind of like indirect competition, I guess, like seeing all these people having these great years, seeing all these stats. Like a big one was Jeremiah Hoffman from Severance, who, I mean, that kid's a baller, and just seeing all this, like he's a young kid too. He was getting all this recruiting stuff, and I was like, dang, that's impressive. I gotta keep working and do all these things. Like if I want to get to that level, I need to, like, I see how much this kid works, and like he does all this off-season training stuff and all that kind of stuff makes me want to push myself more. And all those other kids in the state that are getting really heavily recruited and all that stuff made me kind of like, I gotta like work and do all this stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, Maya's one of the best in the country, if you ask me. So that Yeah, if there's anybody to compare yourself to in the area, that's certainly one of the guys. And I mean, bringing up national talent, I saw that you were voted. You won the fan vote for the Sports Illustrated Best DB in the country. You were on their list for the 20 best. And do you think that Colorado talent is overlooked compared to other talent around the country? And why do you think that is?
I definitely do. I definitely do think that Colorado's a little overlooked. I think there's the average, like I think there's a lot of there's a large gap in some of the skill in Colorado, which is hard for recruiters to look at. Like you're not playing you're not playing Florida competition, you're not playing Texas competition, which makes a little sense. But I mean, you also see guys like Gage Ginther's going to the SEC. We consistently are putting out people who are like going to play Division One football, which is really cool. But I think it was definitely a little bit harder in the recruiting process to get recruited out of Colorado, especially at the Division One level. But I mean, Colorado is some of the best Division Two football in the nation, and so that that gives you a lot of opportunity to go play high level football out of Colorado and staying in the state too, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking at it. The RMAC is the D2 SEC, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, that does make me wonder. I remember you posted that Brady Lichtenberg, right? That's he was playing running back for you guys for most of the season. And he posted recently that, he is under recruited. So if we were in a Florida or a Georgia or a Texas or a Cali, do you think he'd have some more offers on the table or somebody like him?
Yeah, I do think so. I think his stat line is very impressive. Obviously I might be a little biased. He's one of my best buds, one of my neighbors. I've been friends with him since like first grade. But with all that aside, if I had to play against Brady, I would be nervous. But he definitely has the opportunity to go play at some Division II schools. I think he's a Division II talent at least. He's one of the hardest working kids I know. I can say nothing but good things about Brady. And I know he has a visit to Chadron State here soon. He just got an offer from Dort. He's definitely making some moves and stuff, which I'm really excited for him. So that's I think yeah, like you said, I think he's a little under recruited, but I think he'll be happy with wherever he goes. He's just really happy to play some more football.
Very good. And talking about recruiting, it was a little bit slow for you. Obviously, you were only starting to get varsity reps your junior year. Could you give us like the long form of what your recruiting story looked like and how all that transpired?
Yeah, definitely. Up until when my junior season really started, like when I started actually playing, I was all in on basketball and I was trying to get recruited to play basketball. But I shifted my focus towards football and started doing some of those football camps. At the end of my junior year, I went to the very first one I went to was kind of like I would say it was like a mega camp at school. It was like a showcase camp or whatever at the School of Mines. And there was like all those RMAC schools were there and a couple of like other D2s and some D3s and NAIs were there. That's where I got my first offer from Adams State, which I can't say enough great things about them. They really made me want to, go play football in college, and they kind of started that whole journey for me. And I'm extremely thankful for them. But after that camp, I went to just a couple more individual like D2 school, like those RMAC school camps. I think I went to Western and Pueblo, and then I went to a mega camp at UNC, which was great. I learned some good skills there, but there was like 600 something kids there, so there wasn't a whole lot of exposure. I had like one-on-one rep, which I didn't do great in, unfortunately. But after I went through all those camps and I got a good connection with those coaches, and Western and Pueblo started recruiting me really heavy after that. And then I talked to the Black Hill State coaches a couple times at those camps, and they actually came down to our school and talked to our coaches and like all the seniors and stuff. I guess, seniors to be. And then, just kind of throughout the summer, I think I got Western was my second offer, I think. I remember I was a lifeguard. I was sitting there on a break, and they called me, and I talked to the coach, and they offered me there. And then Pueblo came a little bit later. I think it might have been during the season, early season, or maybe it was still in the summer. And then Pueblo really recruited me hard. Coach Mack was the guy who recruited me, and he's a great guy. I was really excited about that, and Pueblo was looking like a leader for me because I really like the coaches, I really like the staff. They have some really really great safeties over at Pueblo. And then the season ended, and I was kind of hanging out at my house, and Coach Taylor, who's a DB's coach at South Dakota, texted me. He said, "Hey, Mikey, what's your phone number?" And so I gave my phone number, and then he didn't talk to me for a couple weeks. Later that night, my Coach Jones, called me, and he said, "Hey, man, South Dakota coaches called me. They're excited about you. They want to see how the rest of they're gonna wait till their season's over, and then they'll hopefully be calling soon." And then maybe a week or two later, hopped on the phone with Coach Taylor. It was a Sunday night. I remember I was at youth group, and I missed a call from him, and we ended up calling later that night. And he invited me to a visit that next weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday that next weekend. And that's when they were playing NDSU. So I went up there, Friday, did all the photo shoots and the academic stuff. Saturday got to watch the game, have some dinner, and then Sunday they offered me, and I was super excited. It's really cool being one of the few kids that gets to go play Division I football from your hometown. Obviously we had JT last year. It doesn't happen a lot, and so it's really cool to be blessed like that. And I'm really thankful for all the people in my life, and it was really sudden though. The weird thing about the South Dakota thing, it was like within a week, and they were like, "All right, you have this deadline to commit, and if not, we're not going to pull your scholarship, or whatever. But we might start looking at other people." And I was really ready to commit. I was super excited about it. I loved the place. I loved really everything about it. The coach is great, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that's really good. I'll admit that about like 2/3 of the way through our regular season, I was starting to get a bit worried that not that D2 ball is bad, but I was like, okay, we got one of the top in the country here. I know Colorado's under recruited, but so I'm very glad that you were able to find a spot. And a couple of other Colorado talents have ended up committing to South Dakota recently. You saw Mason Cogill, Brendan Crisp, from Arapahoe.
Yeah.
What do you think South Dakota sees in Colorado talent that some of the other D1 schools around the country don't?
I think it's a really good opportunity for them to take those top Colorado kids and give them a D1 opportunity because they know that a lot of schools won't do that. And they don't have a lot of Colorado kids on the roster. I know one, maybe two kids that are there. One of the kids' name is Jack Rond. He's a freshman right now. He's a lineman from Dakota Ridge. But South Dakota, they offer in-state tuition to all of like Colorado kids, like all those states that touch the border with them. So that's another big selling point they've got there. But I think they just know that they can develop kids, and I wouldn't even say take chances, but I guess give chances, like be the guys that will like, okay, you know what, you're being under recruited and we can see that. And that's what the DB coach told me was that like, we know that you're a Division I talent, but other coaches maybe are worried about that because you're from Colorado, but we want you here. And it was a really relief for me because I was worried about not getting a Division I look and all that stuff, but I'm really grateful they gave me a look, and I'm grateful that God gave me that opportunity.
Hey, that's good. And you said it yourself. Some college coaches are seeing it and starting to realize that, as you said, you were far under the radar. And yeah, it sounds like South Dakota has taken full advantage of that. And obviously the Yotes are D1, but outside of that, what were some things that you were looking for in schools, and how did South Dakota fit those needs, like academically or? all around.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things for me was like obviously getting a degree and being a part of like a winning culture and like a good culture. I'm not really 100% sure what I want academically, but they're one of the best academics. They're, I think, the best or second best academic school in South Dakota. So that was huge. And, I can get a degree in all the things I'm possibly thinking about. And I've been on between basketball and football. I've been on my fair share of losing teams, and it's not very fun. Um, but I mean, South Dakota, they were number 3 in the nation. Unfortunately, I lost to NDSU, which is a really good program, but they win games. And they're really really starting to build on the program, and I'm really excited about that. And it's not crazy far from home too. It's like an 8-hour drive or something like that, and so it's not terrible. And it's a really really beautiful place. I like a small town. I mean, the school is a medium-sized school in like a smaller town, which is really nice. And yeah, I get to play football there. It's really important.
Well, hey, there you go. A lot of guys never get to have that opportunity. And I mean, sorry, I just realized the 8-hour drive. It's probably as long of a drive from here to South Dakota as it is from here to Durango,
Yeah,
which is kind of funny. But
yeah,
good. I just realized there's a chance that Windsor might play Durango next year with the move to 3A.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Ah, goodness. Well, obviously, a large part of recruiting this day and age is social media. And how has like social media and media impacted your perspective on football and your individual spotlight through your junior and senior seasons?
I think it's a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. My mom, she played Division I soccer at Creighton, and like when she was getting recruited, it was like coaches came, they saw you, and they talked to you in person, and they recruited you instead of you trying to recruit the coaches, kind of. Um, and it's just, I mean, it's different now, but it's really nice. I think it gives a lot of people an opportunity to get recruited, which you might not have had without social media. But um, I think it's really cool, but I think it's really tough because all of my buddies that are trying to play college ball don't quite know how to use Twitter the way you're supposed to use it and all that kind of stuff. Which I mean, I help them all I can, and I usually try to do all that stuff. But like Brady's one of those kids who, for the longest time, didn't really know how to use social media to get recruited and stuff like that until like I mean, he just now posted for his first time yesterday, I think, and it's just different, and you have to learn how to use it, and you have to learn how to do all these things. Thankfully, my dad is a really smart guy, knows all about the tech and all that kind of stuff, and he helped me with that a lot. And then hopefully, I try to help out as many people as I can with that too.
Well, hey, that's a good goal because I see it a lot. A lot of people come asking us about like, and we help as many as we can where they're like, oh, how should we format the film? What should we say to coaches when we message them? And it takes a lot of practice, and you kind
Yeah,
of have to,
definitely.
yeah, like it. I don't know about you, but it's basically a part-time job in and of itself.
Yeah, it's finish practice, you go watch your practice film, and then try to learn from that. And then you go Friday night, go home after the game, watch the film, and highlight your plays. Wake up Saturday morning, edit your plays, post on Twitter. You know, DM coaches, follow coaches, retweet, do all that kind of stuff that, you think, oh, I'm good enough. The coaches will see me and that's just how it'll work. It'll be fine. It just doesn't really work like that, unfortunately, unless you're like a 5-star national talent. But even that's all social media. Like it's just kind of the world it is. And that's just kind of how you got to adjust to it. Another guy that I didn't really talk about, but really helped me a lot was, I'm not sure if you guys know this, his name's Joby Lewis. He's Grayson Lewis and Jackson Lewis's dad. He helps with the safeties at Windsor, and he's one of my family friends, and he really helped me with learning the social media and like how to post on Twitter, how to make my film, and all that kind of stuff.
All right, to everyone listening out there, go spam Coach Lewitt. No, I'm just kidding. But But hey, it's always good to have a mentor like that to help
Mhm.
you with all of that. And I mean, were you surprised by the social media and media attention that you got this year?
Um, I think I think a little bit. I think the Colorado stuff I understood, but the biggest thing, I remember walking out of practice and I saw the notification that I was tagged something on Twitter, and it was that like top 20 DBs in the nation list or whatever. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh, some Colorado kids on here. I see like all those big schools like Mater Day and like all those schools like kids there, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm there. That's cool. It was definitely surprising, and I mean, big shout out to you guys. You guys definitely helped a lot with my recruiting process, and you guys kind of helped spotlight me, and I really appreciated that.
Okay, again, all earned. Like, I mean, we'll get back to the season previews later, but I remember when I was going through it and I saw 14 deflections. And I was like, man, if he can start converting those to picks, he's going to be in good shape. But
Yeah, I think I had 6 pass deflections against Loveland last year, and at least 4 of those should have been interceptions, and that was rough. That was a rough game for me. We won. It was good, but I have a really like vivid memory of one of the receivers ran a post, and I undercut it, and the ball bounced off my hands right into the receiver, and he ran, and we stopped him he got like tackled on the 10, and we ended up not letting him score on that drive, but I just remember I need to learn how to catch it. This is bad.
well, hey, it's very good that you did. And here, but before we get to the season and review stuff, uh, what's your dream NIL deal?
Oh, my dream NIL deal.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've got 2, I think. I mean, my dad, since I was young, has called me Moo, and that's on all my social media stuff. That's my nickname. So if I could find a dairy out there, I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a good selling point. I'm also a big Fabletics guy. I have a lot of Fabletics clothes for some reason. It's all really cheap and nice, so that's good.
Hmm.
That's something I was thinking about that the other day, actually. It'd be a cool NIL deal.
Heck yeah. Now, I mean, South Dakota is a pretty agricultural state, so you could probably
Mhm.
find you could
Yeah,
probably there's probably some dairy out there that you could pair with.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh goodness. And okay, so I've actually been wondering about this because my uncle, his name's Mike, but my grandpa's name is Mike as well. Everyone calls him Mikey.
Mm.
Is Mikey like your legal name, or is that like your similar like Mike situation?
Yeah, it's like that similar Mike situation. My name is Michael. There's a lot of Michaels in my family. I'm like technically the third. Like I think it actually no, I like skipped a generation or whatever. I have a family name.
Hmm.
But I didn't like I'd always my grandpa and my grandma did a lot of babysitting for me, and my grandma would always yell my grandpa and yell Michael, and I'd be like, what? And I was like, I gotta start going by something else. I need to go Mikey or something.
Well, hey, it worked out for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My uncle Mike, he probably would have been the fourth, so I get what you're saying there, but
Yeah, a lot of Mikes.
yeah. Well, we're looking at not just not just that, but looking back at this last high school season for you. Uh, so you have listened to the season preview. I said that there was a best case scenario. You guys go 9-1 in the regular season, which I mean ended up what was it 8-2. So
Yeah, yeah.
what was your reaction to the season preview? Like the guys that I said would be good, and the different results of the games and whatnot, or just like the general feeling towards it.
I was pretty much in agreement. I think the one thing that I really didn't agree with was that Longmont was a toss up. I didn't like that. I was like, oh, I don't like Longmont, dude. We're gonna win that game, and yeah, we did, and that was fun. But I think hearing that you thought we could be Fossil, I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we can be Fossil. We're in good shape, and just seeing all the good things that you had to say about me and my teammates, really, really helped me get excited about the season and think about all the things that we can do. And 9-1 is best record Windsor's had in a long time. And we're like, yeah, let's shoot for that, dude. We can totally do that. There's a lot of people that were like, no, no way, Windsor's going 9-1. They were 4-6 last year. That's not gonna happen. I mean, we went 8-2. Very easily could have been 9-1. Could have been 10-0. We had some confidence in that first quarter of the Erie game. Uh, didn't pan out though. But I think having that season back, playing the way we did at the end of the season, 9-1, is definitely a reasonable goal.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest, with a lot of my previews, I was a bit too optimistic about schools, but I'm glad I nailed that one. And I mean, week by week, you mentioned it. You had a lot of confidence. That Erie game was one that I thought was going to be pretty close. Could you run us through like the week by week, like the good, the bad that there was, and a couple of funny stories if you have them?
Yeah. So I remember the Meade game of week 1. I guess preseason would have been we scrimmaged. I remember scrimmage Heritage. I didn't go there. Me and a bunch of the seniors, we're all a pretty close friend group. We go to a church camp every summer, and that was unfortunately right over that Heritage scrimmage. So unfortunately, didn't get to make it to that. That one kind of hurt to miss, but yeah. Then moving into the season, so I did some 7-on-7 stuff. That was really fun. Had a lot of fun doing that with my buddies. And then yeah, we get to Meade, and that was stressful. We were kind of getting picked apart. They were throwing a lot of really quick outs and slants that I couldn't help them with much, and it was really hard to watch. But we figured it out. A comeback victory. We're like, oh wow, we barely beat Meade. This might be a rough year. We were kind of worried. I'm not gonna lie, but we were like, we have room to grow. We've got a really young quarterback, young people playing, and we gotta step some things up. And then Longmont, really nervous about Longmont playing. I remember I think they played at week 0 where it was Longmont and Broomfield, or maybe that was week 1. And I remember watching that game and watching Joey Foote head top Mikael Benner, and I was like, oh wow, okay, Mikael's a guy. That's impressive from Joey. It's gonna be something to look out for. And then didn't really throw too many deep balls. I was kind of boned about that because I was expecting a couple picks that game. Didn't quite get those because I had 2 picks against Meade, I think. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some more against Longmont, but they changed with the game plan, and we were down, I think 16.5 maybe, and I just remember the locker room was very positive. We have a guy on our team, which his name's AJ Perea. He's one of my best friends, and he is one of the best like energy guys you'll ever meet. And he's in the locker room. He's screaming. He's like, we're not losing. Like, he's not mad at people, but he is fired up. He's like, let's get it going, man. Like, just super hyped up. And he got me going. I got the DBs going. Everyone was fired up, and we came out and we beat him at the half. We had a huge stop at the end of the game on a 2-point conversion that they were trying to win it with. But oh yeah, my first ever offensive snap was that game. And I remember we were on like the 5-yard line, and we were like, all right, let's punch it in. Mikey, you're going. And I ran a 17 power, just a quarterback draw, left outside run, and I juke out. I'm running to the outside, and there's like a guy on the outside of me and a guy coming on the inside, and I juke inside to try to get into the end zone, and I just get a helmet right to my hip. And that was right before halftime, and I was like hobbling around, and I didn't play for like the last drive of the half, I think, and I was like hobbling out of the locker room. I was super energetic. I was like, I can't come out. I need to play this game. This is super fun. But I was hurting, and I just remember watching the film from that game, and I'm like hobbling all around the field, and it's fun to watch. But we came back, won that game. Cole Gaddis was messing us up, man. He's a baller. They did a little toss to him. I think they were down 8, or no, they were down 7, and they scored, and they went for 2 to try to win it, and they did a toss to him. We tackled him, we got him down. That was insane. Everyone was screaming, student section was going crazy. That was really fun. That might have been one of my favorite games other than Loveland, because it was like you said, it was a toss up, and it was nice to prove No offense, would prove you wrong.
Hey,
We were excited about that one, and then see week 3 was Fort Collins. Man, that one was scary. We did a really good job in the first half. Um, we thought we had a win there, and then they started to come back towards the fourth quarter, and Joe hadn't done much until the fourth quarter of that game, and he got a couple deep passes, and they ran a little hook and ladder, did some stuff, and they got it down, to a last second field goal. And that week I was the field goal block guy, and I took off and I missed it by like maybe a foot, and they were on the right hash kicking it, and I like kind of stopped there. I was standing like right next to the holder, and just watched the ball. Just it looked so good. I was like, no way, we just lost. That's terrible. And then it starts curving, and it misses the left upright by maybe a foot, and it didn't feel good to win it because it didn't feel like we deserved to win it, but we snuck it out, and that was awesome. That was fun. It kind of sucked because there wasn't too much energy and excitement after winning that game because we almost kind of sold it.
yeah,
But it was still a fun one.
yeah, yeah. And quick aside, Joel Lopez, actually, I interviewed him after the Canvas game against Fossil, and he was like, yeah, I was really kicking myself after the Windsor game, so I told myself I'm not missing another one. So
Yeah, because he made that game-winning field goal, right, against Fossil in that Canvas game?
yeah, with 0.4 seconds left.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was honestly my favorite game of the year. But sorry, continue back to.
Yeah, so that was like Fort Collins was our first, like that was like we're like, okay, we're hitting the hard stretch of the season here because we had Fort Collins, Fossil, Erie. So yeah, then we played Fossil. And I just remember I was nervous. I was like, all right, this is the biggest game. I've got to step up. This is, this is like the Fossil game. Windsor plays Fossil. Their student section is massive. They have so many kids. Our student section's huge. It is like peak Friday Night Light experience. And I was like, I'm ready to go. This is exciting. I got a pick on the first drive, and then I think we drove down and scored on that drive. And I was like, okay, we're gonna win this game. And then we went down. We kind of started playing a little worse there. Their running back started going. He had a couple really huge runs that kind of put us behind, and we were down going to the halftime. And our message was just, we've been behind. Meade and Longmont were both comeback wins. Like Fort Collins almost came back on us. Like, this happens. You can come back. This isn't like anything we can't do. And we get it close when Gavin Home has a really good catch, touchdown, and it kind of puts us up. We got to go for an onside kick, and we pooch it. We almost get it. Fortunately, didn't get it, but I think we were down, or maybe we were up to. I don't remember what the score was, but there was just a play where they did kind of an outside zone run, and I went to tackle the running back, and I think I got face masked pretty hard. I saw some pictures where it looks like I got face masked pretty hard, but the refs didn't call it. It's part of the game. Calls don't go your way. That was unfortunate, but we lost, but it was almost a confidence booster for us. Like, that's a 5A team that's a 5A playoff team. They're historically good. Like, we ran with them. That's impressive. And so we were 3-1. We were like, dang, that's a really good start. So bet 3-1 was like the last time Windsor was 3-1 was like 2017. That was like, might have been a state championship year, I think. We were like, okay, we're rolling. And then we had Erie. We knew Erie all year. That was circled. That's going to be our game. And I was like, all right, I'm going to play Division I football, Division I quarterback, Division I tight end. I've got to do something. And I had 2 picks that game. I had one where it was a scramble drill. I remember Blake. It was impressive. He on his back foot flicks it like 50 yards or something. And I just kind of beat the receiver to the spot and got it, and that fired me up. We started the game really well. Started the game, marched down the field on offense. Our running game was impressive. We marched down the field. We didn't end up scoring. We kind of switched up the plan, and it didn't work too well for us, and we ended up kicking a field goal and missed it. But then we stop them 3 and out. Offense goes 3 and out. We stop them 3 and out again, and then they just start rolling and doing their thing. And it kind of went down from there because that Erie team, they were good. I mean, they're state champions. I'm surprised they went to the number 1 seed, but they were a good team. And then we kind of moved into conference play. Not too strong of a conference for us, but we had our Greeley Central homecoming game, which was fun. 50-7. It was, I remember last year our Skyline was our homecoming game, and that was a closer game, and I was hoping that we'd have a closer game for homecoming this year, but unfortunately it didn't happen. It's whatever. It was still fun. Had a good weekend at homecoming. And then we played Skyline, and that was 51-0. I think I had a kick return touchdown and a rushing touchdown. That was like my first really offensive game there, which was really fun. And then West, I think I had a fake punt touchdown, I think. That was fun. That was our senior night too.
Dang.
And we gave them the business, which was fun. But I remember going back to that Central game, we were walking out on the field, and they weren't very classy, as Coach Jones would say. They said some things, and they got Coach Jones fired up. He doesn't like people disrespecting Windsor, and brought in a helmet, smashed a helmet. It's still hanging up in our locker room wall, this like smashed helmet, and brought it out at end of the first quarter, smashed it again. It was intense. It was a fun game. It was a lot of energy. And then, like I said, Skyline was a blowout. Greeley West was a blowout. It was senior night. It was fun. And then we had Loveland, and they really started to kind of like increase my reps on offense throughout practice. I'd been doing some quarterback stuff since like week 1, but didn't really get used a whole lot till the Loveland game. And it was like our opening possession. It was like 3rd and something, I think, and they threw me in that quarterback. I said, all right, 12 zone, you're running it. It's like, all right. And then my very first, like, one of my first really quarterback plays, like, I guess it was in like my 3rd or 4th, maybe, scored a touchdown. First play of that game, I played on offense, I scored. And then stopped him on defense, kick return for a touchdown. And then, I kept doing quarterback stuff. I had a couple more touchdowns, and I just remember there was a lot of drama before the game with Loveland and all that stuff. Social media and all that kind of stuff was crazy. All those Barstool accounts that all these teams have. It was really fun, and it was kind of my first time playing offense for a whole game, and I had a great time doing it. I had an interception, a couple big tackles. It was a great game. Had a lot of fun, and man, me and my friends were loving it. Man, we had a great time. And then, drove down to Grand Junction. That was a trip. That was interesting.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's a trip that puts some ache in your bones. Like I was talking to some guys from Grandview, and they had to go play Fruita, and they were like, "Yeah, no, I hate that they're joining 5A next year."
Yeah, it's a trip, but in 4A football in Colorado, there's not a lot of money thrown around, and so it was really fun to get to go stay in a hotel room, drive a charter bus. No, I guess we had school buses, I think, for that one. Drive up there, stay in a hotel room with your buddies, have some fun, go get food that the school pays for, like all that kind of stuff was really cool. Kind of felt like a college trip. We got to play at Mesa Stadium. That one was really fun. The drive back wasn't great, but I mean the game was really fun. One of my buddies who played receiver, his name was Noah Foth. He had a crazy one-handed catch that game. It was like his first ever high school touchdown. It was fun. I think I had 2 picks and 2 touchdowns that game. I think it was really fun. Got to play some receiver too for the first time. That was fun. But the drive back, it was a blizzard. It was, we only had one bus coming back. The other bus driver was like, "I'm not driving through the snow. I'm leaving right as you guys. I'll drop you off at the game." So we packed up parents' cars. I drove down for the game. And that was the night before like Halloween and like all the Halloween parties were, and all my friends wanted to get back to go hang out with friends and stuff. And we got back at like maybe 11. It was rough. Everyone just went to bed. They were tired. We were all sweaty, and it was rough, but it was fun. It was a great memory. Um, and then we were 8-2. We hosted a home playoff game against Antares. Blew them out, held them scoreless. I think we had our banquet a couple days ago. And they said that was there was 2 shutouts in the 4A playoff that year and this year, and that was one of them. That was another game where I had 2 picks, I had 2 touchdowns. I went down with really bad cramps that game though. I kind of struggled with that all year. Was cramping. It wasn't like a hydration thing. I think the trainer said there was something chemically wrong with my body because I was drinking so much water. I was drinking like 2 electrolyte packets a day. It was really annoying.
Trainers just roasting your genetics at that point.
They're like maybe there's like a chemical thing wrong with you. I've seen how much you drink and how much electrolytes you do. You eat good food. You eat 2 bananas before every game. Like I don't know what is happening. But I remember I was going to take a snap at quarterback and I kind of lean on one foot and lean on my other foot. I was like, oh, I might cramp. And I ran like a sweep to the outside and I started cramping. I just fell down. And I felt weird and everyone thought I blew out my knee or something. And there was our broadcast team for our school does a really good job of broadcasting our games, and they're Saturday reporters and stuff. And there's a picture of me on the train table stretching. I look really goofy. It's funny.
You never look good when you're stretching.
No, not at all. Yeah, especially you're that tight. You're in pain, and that's rough. But it was really fun. And then we played Ponderosa. That was our coach. Coach Jones doesn't get really, really upset a lot about things he can't control. But Ponderosa was really I don't want to say annoying, but really, really pushing us to play the game. I guess not pushing. They didn't give us an option. They said we're playing at 5, which, they're in Echo Park. They're far. We were hoping for a 7 o'clock game. So we could.
You want to be able to attend class.
Exactly, yeah. And so, we ended up playing at 5, and we were upset about that. We didn't like that. We were upset about that. And they had some weapons. They had, Max Mervin, Carson Keach, a couple of those guys who were, they were talents. And so we had a great game plan. I had the opportunity I had 4 touchdowns and I threw for 1. It was a huge game and it was really, really fun. The other guy, the Max Mervin, me and him had both had offers from CSU Pueblo. And, I was like, it's one of my teammates. I might play against one of my future teammates. That'd be really cool. But that was a really, really fun game. And first game I ever drank pickle juice to get rid of cramps. That sucked. I hate pickles, but I had to take a shot of pickle juice. And I remember my mom was like, I'll bring you some pickle juice in case you cramp. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh, I need to keep playing. I need to do it. And I sat there and I looked at my mom in the stands and she goes, you gotta do it. I was like, oh. I almost threw up. It was bad.
Did it work?
It worked. It worked insanely well. I was almost annoyed at how well it worked because I had to tell my mom she was right. It was rough. It was really gross, but I had a little calf cramp and I was like, oh, I can feel some more coming. This is gonna be bad. And I took a shot and I was good for the rest of the game. I was like, okay.
Dang. It's like when you tell your parents I can't find the ketchup. And then they just take 2 seconds in the fridge. Yeah,
that's exactly what it felt like. That's a memory I'm gonna have for a long time. And then we played Montrose, which unfortunately was the last game of the season. But that was another one of those really long trips. It was really fun. We had a great time. But we thought we were winning that game. We were rolling. We were confident. A lot of teams don't hit like Montrose does, but a lot of teams also don't hit like Windsor does. So we were like, you know what? They're not expecting it. They're not ready for it. We had a couple injuries and a couple guys that didn't play, which hurt us a little bit, but no excuses. We still played. But man, they were a good team. I wish they would have played Erie the way they played us. I wish they would have played Erie with the same confidence they played us with. Because they moved. I just remember the first play of the game. I remember walking out as a captain and seeing their captains. They were just huge kids. I was like, oh geez, okay. And the first couple drives on offense was they would just pull 2 guards up to me, like up to my level. I was playing safety. I was like 10 yards back, and they would just pull guards up to me and like hit me. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a long game. Um, and then I went and played quarterback for like a whole drive, and every time throughout the game when I would check into offense, they would always scream Mickey Mouse at me, like they were like adjusting to something. It was interesting. I was like, okay, dude, really? But no, I mean they prepared well. They were really the first team to really shut me down on offense. I mean, I scored. I had a pretty good drive through a couple passes, ran pretty well. But man, they hurt me, man. I messed up my shoulder during that game. My back plate was like snapped, dude. I fumbled that game.
Oh,
It was they were I can't say enough good things about them. They were all really really great kids. Um, and man, I knew it was gonna be different when we were warming up and they walk out to Indian Outlaw, some redneck country song. I was like, oh, all right. They were just I mean, they played like him and they were just hard nosed big kids, dude. And their linemen were huge. They moved. I've never seen someone execute an offense like they did. They you know knew what they were supposed to do. They ran like the same play every other play, but they just ran it perfect. And I don't know how you stop that. They rolled and it was impressive. I remember the Mesa coach was there to talk to me or to watch me, and the CSU Pueblo coach was there. And it was rough talking to him after the game after we lost, but it was just it was a great season. We went from 4-6 to 10-3, and one of the best things about our team this year was our kind of core group of seniors. We are all really close. Every weekend we're all like our core group of seniors are hanging out. We're doing stuff together, and that really helped us throughout the season with our we were very very bonded. We had a lot of confidence in each other and all that kind of stuff. But it made it really hard when we lost and had to take that 5-hour bus ride home. But it was a great season, and really really thankful that I got to go the way I went with my friends, and the talents God gave me and the way I got to use them, and hopefully honor Him was wonderful.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, at least, if you're gonna go out with those who you call brother.
Yeah.
And I mean that honestly answered my next question. I was gonna ask what separated this team from your competitors, but I mean you answered it right there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about the seniors in my class. I mean, we started playing football and we're all neighbors. Like there's like 6 of us that were all neighbors and played like flag football together in first grade, and our group just kept growing through middle school. And I mean, we went on like camping trips together. We hung out, like did all these things together. And I'm not to talk down on like the seniors from the last classes. They taught us a lot of great things, but the leadership we had this year, not even just captains, but all of the seniors, nobody was ever getting screamed at. Nobody was ever getting cussed at in practice. It was, you did this wrong. We know you can fix it. You can do this differently. And it was really amazing to see the difference that made. And we just had a meeting today. That's why I was a little late to our call here. Was we had a meeting with the senior captains and then the upcoming seniors next year, about what they need to do to build off of our success. And we just said, go after morning weights, go get McDonald's breakfast with your teammates. Like go after games, go to Freddy's and get food. Like there's so many little things that we did differently that I wish for Windsor to always have seniors doing, because we just had a really great group of guys, and I'm really really thankful for them.
Well, dang, that sounds like a really good team environment. Like
Yeah,
like I'm not blowing smoke, but that sounds nice. And
it was awesome.
Oh goodness. And I mean, I guess that leads me right into the next one, which is what are some lessons that you hope, aside from the leadership and the togetherness,
Mm-hmm.
that you hope that some of the younger guys will take with them into next season?
I think listening was one of the things Coach Jones talked about all year, was just listening. We knew, and our coaching staff knew, we had the guys to do great things, but the attention to detail was slacking a little bit during the summer. And just listening to the coaches, like, I mean, I thought that I was going to be a quarterback my entire life. I got switched to DB. Best thing that's ever happened to me. Um, it put me in a really good position. And that's just because I listened to the coaches. I listened to what the coaches taught me. I listened to what the coaches thought was best for me. Um, and another thing would be humility. No matter how good you are, there's always going to be somebody better. No matter if you're leading the state in interceptions or there's always somebody with more in the nation. Like, I was, there's always somebody a little bit better than you. There's no need to be cocky about it. And I struggled with that throughout the year a little bit. I got a little cocky, and I kind of struggled with that, but I started to be a little more humble and give more glory to God than myself, and more thanks to my teammates, and that really helped me throughout the season.
Very good. Yeah, I mean it's always good to have that self-reflection. And
yeah,
who are some of the guys who you think are going to be the playmakers for Windsor? Not just next year, but in the coming cycles.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've got some guys. I mean, obviously Deacon's a lineman, but I mean, you saw what Gage Ginther did. He almost carried their offense as a lineman. And I think Deacon Schmidt is going to have a huge role, maybe even play some D-line stuff because he's an animal. But yeah, backs wise, I mean, Kyle is going to keep making plays. Sam Cooper, which you saw make some crazy good plays, is going to keep doing that. And Tripp kind of struggled with injuries throughout the year, but I mean, he has the ability to do some crazy things. And another guy which didn't really get a lot of recognition this year is Cale Frederick. I talked about him a little earlier. He is he's a little undersized, but he's one of the best kids I know, and he can move and he can catch and he can do really good routes. He's a kind of slot guy. He was a kid I threw a touchdown pass to against Pondo, and he has a bright future ahead of him. And then another big one is Mason Moore. He did a little bit for us in his freshman year. He did a little bit and a little bit this year, but he blew out his ACL unfortunately in a JV game. But he has a really bright future. That kid, he can play. I'm excited to see him come back and play after his injury. But yeah, and then Drew Miller on the defensive side. He played some safety for us this year, and hopefully I taught him some things, and we have a great DB room there, a bunch of good coaches there, hopefully, and Ethan Schneider too. He was the other strong corner for us, which battled some nerves, but those two are pretty important for us on the defensive side.
Very good. I mean, if there's anything that Windsor does consistently every year, it's defense.
Yeah.
And I mean, you meant. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, you mentioned Deacon. I mean, you had a really good year. Gavin had a really good year. When we announced like our candidates for awards and our all Playmaker teams, and then when we announced like, oh yeah, Mikey Munn is the 4A defensive playmaker of the year. What was going through your head at those different points in time?
I mean, I was just honored. I last year looking forward, I seeing all these people win these awards, I was like, dang, that'd be really cool. And then it happened, and I just like am really blessed from that. And I think I was really I was honored to be that guy out of Windsor because there's not too many of those. And I'm sure there'll be more in the future though. We've got some great kids coming up, but it's really cool for me to like kind of be, I don't know, I don't want to be like not like a model or anything, but like let younger kids know that when you go to Windsor you can do these great things and you can go play D1 ball, you can win these awards. Like although Windsor's a little under recruited and maybe not too much attention because we're not like a Denver school, you still get you can do all these good things. Like if you can play, people will find you. And it was really cool to like see these younger kids looking up to me. My sister's in middle school, and she always tells me about all the little middle school football players who are like, did you see Mikey did this? Mikey got an offer here, like all that stuff. And it was like, it's really cool to hear like the town of Windsor kind of had my back, and a lot of people that I knew growing up in my neighborhood and people I didn't even know coming up to me and saying congratulations and all that stuff was really an honor. And it was a really cool experience being kind of that guy out of Windsor, and it was really a blessing.
Yeah, and I mean, the season you had, and not just individual, well, I mean, not just as a team, but individually, that's the type of season that keeps a program strong for the next 10 years.
Hmm.
Like that's just awesome. And I mean, Windsor as a school does have like that history of success. I mean, I think when I went to that playoff game against Bear Creek last year, I saw like all the banners hung outside the building
Hmm.
with all the different championships here in the past 10 years. But I mean, a lot of schools have success. So what's unique about Windsor athletically?
I mean, I'll talk a little bit about across the board and about football specifically. I would say for the football team, I mean, Coach Jones he's less worried about developing great football players and more worried about developing like really good men. And a lot of coaches say that, but I think Coach Jones is one of the best coaches in the nation that develops really good men. Um, and that's what you ask for out of high school football because I mean, obviously, he didn't help with recruiting. Like he didn't seek out recruiting, which I don't have any problem with because he made me the man I am today, and I'm extremely blessed from that. And he's like, he doesn't talk the talk and tell you what to do. He does it. You know, I see him in church every week. I see him help fundraising. I see him helping out people. I see him helping ladies cross the street. I see him helping people pick up their groceries. I felt like he's a really great guy, and that is a really true testament to the football program and what he does to develop you. Like even if you're not the greatest football player, you'll leave Windsor knowing you're better as a person because that's what Coach Jones's goal is, and he puts that into the entire coaching staff. He hires coaches that are going to do the same things and want to do the same things, and it really shows. But I'd say the school wide athletic program is really good. You know, Windsor is it's weird being in Windsor your whole life and thinking that Windsor really is as good at athletics because it's just kind of what you're used to. You're used to seeing Windsor doing all these great things. But it's really fun to be a part of. I played basketball for 3 years. I started track last year. I'm doing track again this year. And I've been successful in every one of those. You know, all of those years I've played, we've been successful, and I've really enjoyed it. We just we don't always have the greatest athletes, but we have a lot of kids that are willing to work. And that's just from the coaches that our athletic director hires. And our athletic director, his name's Eric Johnson. He's a really great guy. You know, he has kids at the school. His wife's a counselor at the school. They're Windsor. Everyone that is a part of Windsor athletics, and even Windsor High School, the band, the drama club, the staff, like people are bought into being a Windsor Wizard, and that really helps you. Like you you don't get you don't get like a lot of special treatment being an athlete, but you know that you know teachers will work with you if they know you're an athlete and you have to like miss something. You know that people are cheering for you. Like people are watching live streams of the games, even though they don't really care that much about basketball or football individually, but they care about Windsor and they'll watch the games and like stuff like that is really cool, and it helps people want to play sports at Windsor. And so we get you know the best athletes at our school are playing sports at our school because you know people love being an athlete at Windsor because people love Windsor athletics.
That's I mean, that's the kind of culture some schools can only dream of. So the success certainly turned out this year. And we talked a lot about the playoffs. What would you say is different about playoff football from the regular season? Because you played your junior year and you played your senior year going against some of the best teams in the state. And what is that difference?
I think it's just like I think it's a lot different for the seniors. Um, I think it's important to have a larger senior class when you go into those playoffs because the mood like flips because not everyone has the opportunity to play another snap of like football. You don't go play like rec football. You play rec basketball and you play rec volleyball or whatever. You don't play rec football again. Like when you're done with high school football and you're not going to play in college, it's over. and nobody wants it to be over. Um, I just remember one thing that really drove me through last year, my junior year, and this year was watching my brother. He blew out his ACL uh, fall camp of his senior year, so he didn't get to play at all his senior year, and he didn't get very many opportunities his junior year. But um, he was a great guy. He really taught me how to work hard, and he was the one that made me start going to the gym and do all that kind of stuff. But I remember my junior year, I just remembered like if we make it to state, my brother has a chance to put pads on again, and that was really like a goal for me was to help my team get there. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But it was rough, and every game this year I wrote 77 on my wrist tape. That was my brother's number. He just kind of helped teach me to work as hard as I can and not take anything for granted. And you get to those playoffs, and there's no way you can take anything for granted because in the regular season you're promised another game. You're promised another game on that schedule. But that's not how it works in playoffs. And me and my friends are really close, and we are friends because of football. And that was a really big part of it was making sure that we have another game to play together, another week of practice. Not even another game, but another week of practice, another Tuesday and Thursday lift in the mornings, another chance to go eat after practice together. Like all that kind of stuff was really big for us. And, we played 3 games, and that was, the maxi gets 5. So we, not a lot of teams had that opportunity to play that many games, but we did. And the momentum, or not the momentum, but the mindset in the locker room definitely shifted. At least after the Centaurus game. The Centaurus game we had a lot of confidence in, but that Ponderosa game, we were like, all right, we got to play our best football here. And we did, and it was great. But that mindset of like we need to lock in and we need to play our best football we can play right now was really awesome, but really scary at the same time.
When you were talking about that, it really brought me back to high school, and my junior year I did JV baseball, and I knew my senior year I tried out my senior year and I ended up getting cut. But my junior year, I knew the last game of the season may be the last game that I ever played, and it ended up being that. And so and ended up getting a run and 2 steals and a couple of base hits. So ended up going well, but yeah, it just brought me back to that feeling.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about not taking a play off, like especially towards the end of the season, you were out there basically the entire time, offense and defense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, you see some teams in 4A and 5A having a bunch of guys who play both ways. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, obviously 1A through 3A, it's pretty necessary, but
yeah.
But you see a lot of teams on the 4A and 5A level kind of thinking that they're above it, if that's the right term. But
yeah, definitely.
But what do you think about players in the higher classifications playing both ways?
I definitely don't think it's a necessity. Oh my gosh, a necessity. There's a lot of, you go into these 4A, 5A schools, and there's a lot of great athletes. I mean, you have a lot of kids in your school, but Windsor, we've never had the enrollment to be a 4A school. When we got moved up, our athletic director was not happy about it. He argued Chassa about it. He said, we have 3A numbers, we should be playing 3A. And they're like, no, you're dominating, you need to move up, like all that stuff. So we don't have 4A numbers, but we still had a lot of great kids who developed the program and worked really hard. And thankfully, I was one of the guys who got to play both ways. It kind of started to change a little bit more. Landon Scruggs, our corner, started playing some slot receiver stuff. Yeah, we started. I kind of got to start both ways a little bit towards the end there.
Yeah.
And it was just really fun. But I don't think it's as much a necessity, but it's definitely something that should be utilized a little more than maybe it does. Like, if you want to win games, you got to put your best athletes on the field. as long as you can and as many times as you can because they're going to put you in a position to win. And I think thankfully I was able to change that mindset, the view of the coaches a little bit of like, okay, we can play kids both ways. Like this might need to happen a little bit more, and hopefully I changed that a little bit.
Hey, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if you've got the personnel for it, I say do it all day, every day.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, unfortunately, your days of getting those high school snaps are done.
yeah.
But now that your high school career is over, what are your goals for college ball? I mean, if it goes that way, do you want to go play professionally, or like what are you thinking of?
Yeah. I mean, the coach of South Dakota does a really good job of developing DBs. I think he had 2 or 3 kids going to the draft this year. He's coaching the NFL. He does a lot of great things like that, and that was a big selling point for me too. Was the opportunity to keep playing football after college. Obviously, I want to stay like focused on what's right in front of me, and that's going into fall camp or spring ball. I mean, and focusing on that. But I mean, I'm gonna try my hardest to develop the best I can, learn the system. You know, hopefully play my 4 games in red shirt or play as much as I can, whatever the team needs. But yeah, my goal is definitely go play in the NFL one day. But it's a lot of work, and I'm really excited to do that.
Very good. And I mean, it all starts this off season.
Mhm.
That journey to hopefully the league. But what are you going to be doing this off season to try to reach some of those goals?
Yeah, I mean, week after the season ended, I started training with a guy who does a lot of Loveland, Fort Collins, and like Windsor kids. His name is Coach Samp. He trains like Trey Olson and stuff. Both of the Lewis brothers did training with him. I think he played indoor football. He's a DB. He does a really good job of working on speed stuff too. He helped me with track a lot. Um, and I started doing that week after the season ended, and I'm doing that a lot. I'm gonna try to, you know, do as much stuff as I can to get ready to go down to South Dakota in June.
Hey, it makes sense. It's always good to have somebody that has your back like that.
Hmm.
And I mean, you've talked a lot about different coaches, coach at South Dakota, uh, the coach who's been helping with your film, Coach Jones. Would you ever consider coaching like on any level?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm thinking of whatever I'm studying, minoring in coaching. Um, and one of my ideas is to go do physical therapy if football doesn't work out, and that's like a grad school thing, and hopefully being a GA or something. Um, but yeah, I really love the game of football. I love, even like this year, helping the freshmen learn how to backpedal and stuff like that. Like I really love helping kids out, and hopefully if I don't go play professional, even after I'm done playing professional football, I can come back and coach, maybe even at Windsor, just do some things like that.
Okay, that's some good stuff. It's always good to be able to go back and give back to the community. And I mean, you mentioned it right there. You've been helping the freshmen this year, but let's say that you had a time machine and you were able to go back to the day where you decided, I'm going to be a Windsor Wizard. What advice would you give to yourself? That this could be on-field, relationships, academics, recruiting, any of that. What would you tell yourself right now?
I mean, if I'm going back to I knew I was going to be a Windsor Wizard since I was about 4. I loved the town of Windsor, but I'll go back to my freshman year, scrawny little quarterback, not very good. Um, I would tell myself to focus on my relationship with God first, because that was one of the biggest things I was missing for a long time in my life. And then focus on my grades. That was, my first 2 years of school. I did kind of slacked a little bit, had to kind of kick it up my junior and senior year, but yeah, and just trust the process. I thought, oh, well, they're going to move me to DB. I'm not going to play college football. That sucks. That's whatever. But anything's possible, and just, stay humble, stay hungry, still want to learn no matter what you're at. Just keep wanting to be better than you are right now.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. I kind of wish I could go back and tell myself some of that stuff. I mean, now that we're getting towards the end of this, you've mentioned a lot of people over the course of this, coaches, your brother, friends, but is there, you can say people again, you can bring up new folks, but is there anybody that you'd like to mention who has been important to your athletic or academic career or personal life that you would like to thank right now?
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, first is God. I'd be nowhere without him. He really made me into who I am, gave me these abilities and all this stuff, and I extremely grateful for that. And then my parents, my dad has been by far my biggest supporter, helping me, get the recruiting process, help give me advice, doing all that stuff. Did a lot of recruiting stuff for me, did a lot of really good things for me, and I'm really thankful for that. And then my mom, she's just, a rock, always there, always able to, help me out, make me food. When I was a freshman, sophomore, bring me to practice, make me do schoolwork when I hated it, um, all that kind of stuff. And then my friends, when I was in middle school, playing middle school football, I really, really hated football. I was a backup quarterback, seventh and eighth grade year. To a kid I thought I was better than. I don't know if I was, but I was really close to quitting football up until like week 2 of my freshman year. I was going to quit football. And my friends always just told me, like, dude, don't do that. Like, come on, bro. Like, even if you don't like it, just keep playing it, dude. Like, just be with your friends. It's going to be fun. Like, whatever. I'll just keep doing it. I don't want to quit. I don't want to be that kid. And just like because of my friends, I'm where I am, and always wanted to be a little better than them. Always wanted to have a little bragging rights on top of them. Um, and then my coaches, I mean, Coach Jones has been a huge part of my family. Um, Helped me with a lot of things, gave me a lot of advice. Gave me opportunity to play football at a high level, and I'm really grateful for that. And Coach Lewis and Coach Verm, my DB coaches. And another one is Coach Espy. He was taught me how to play DB as a sophomore, and unfortunately he moved my senior year, but he was a massive part. I still text him, let him know that he made me who I am, the DB I am, and I'm really grateful for them. All those coaches who developed me. Coach Thompson, our defensive coordinator, taught me the X's and O's of football, which is just as important as being able to play it. Yeah, and then obviously like my brother made me want to work hard, do some things to at least give him an opportunity to watch more football, even though he couldn't play it, which was really hard. Then my little sister, like I talked about, she's eighth grader, but she one of my best friends, and really just brings some livelihood into my life and bring some non-football conversations. I have a lot of football conversations, but she always has some random things to talk about, which is always fun. Yeah, and just like thanks to like everybody who's helped me along the way, all the people I forgot to mention by name. I'm sure in a couple minutes after this interview's done, I'll remember people I forgot to thank. Oh, I remembered one, a couple big ones. My grandparents. Every game, every award, every offer, everything like that. There's always a text. Congratulations, that's awesome, love you, proud of you. But everyone else I forgot to thank. I didn't do that intentionally. I just am really grateful for everybody that's helped me along the way.
All right, that was perfect. That was perfect. Oh, and thank you very much for coming on today, Mikey. This was a really, really good conversation. It was really cool to be able to hear your story. You're actually the second top 5 guy that we've talked to who, only really started getting an opportunity during your junior year, and it's really good to know that. I mean, everyone knows that this state has talent, but it's good to know that there are guys out there who, may not have had a chance yet, but who are going to turn into something great, who are going to mean as much to their community as guys like you have. And so thank you very much, Mikey. And thank you very much to everyone listening. You can find this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, be it Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube even. You can also find us on social media. On Twitter, you can find us at Playmaker Corner. That is Playmaker, not Playmakers. For some reason, that was already taken. But it wasn't taken on TikTok and Instagram, where you can find us at Playmakers Corner. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us. And ultimately, that should be all for today. Thank you all very much for listening. Remember to stay hydrated, stay safe, and don't die. So, hope you all have a good one, and peace.